Welcome to all of you. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about optical switching networks. An optical switch is a dynamic element in an optical network that can switch the data between different ports of a network. An optical switch also performs various digital logic operations by allowing the signals to switch from one state to the another state. There is also a terminology called router. A router just routes the data packet towards the destination, but a router will never provide a switching connectivity. There are four different types of switching networks. First one, optical circuit switched networks, optical packet switched networks, multi-protocol label switching, optical burst switching networks. Let us go through one after the another. First one, optical circuit switched networks. This is going to require an end-to-end connection. It means a proper path between source to the destination needs to be established first. Once the path is established, till the completion of the data transmission from source towards the destination or vice versa, that connection cannot be used for any other connection establishment. That means it is a dedicated connection. So once the transmission is 100% completed, then there will be a proper termination of that particular logical link. So once termination has been done, then that particular network or that particular lines can be used by any other data transmission path. So that is what is we mean for the optical circuit switched network. So in very simple, it is going to comprising of a dedicated connection between source to destination until the completion of the data transmission. Let us consider a simple 6-node network for the explanation of optical circuit switching. So here we can observe node A to node F in a sequential manner. We are going to have different nodes. Two nodes are being elaborated, B as well as the D. Now here we are going to consider that A is the source node, and out of F we are going to get to the output. Now the wavelength lambda 1 is the input to the node A, and it has established a logical dedicated link between A and F via from A then to B then to D then to the F, and finally we can observe the lambda 1 out of this network. Whatever the solid line being shown, that is going to indicate a dedicated the logical link between A and F. Now here two nodes are being elaborated, B as well as D. Let us go through both of them. So here we can observe that in case of B, so there is a optical cross connection happening. That means the data enters through the port 2 and it will be switched to port 3 before it is going to make a transmission. So there is a optical cross connection switching is happening. Whereas in case of D, here we can observe that there is a direct path established. From one it is going to make an entry and that will take an exit from the node 3. So this is a straight path. So this type of connection we call it as the optical cross connect. Now let us go through few more concepts related to optical circuit switching. So optical circuit switching OCS can handle traffic from SDH, SONET and IP networks with certain limitations. Second point, wavelength continuity constraint limits the flexibility of OCS. So what is the meaning of this wavelength continuity constant? So in the previous diagram we had observed that lambda 1 is the input, lambda 1 itself is the output. So that means since its beginning till the end it is going to maintain single wavelength. So that is what the wavelength continuity we are going to have. and this is a constant also. Since in all other networks we cannot expect that lambda 1 particular wavelength must be available throughout a long network, something like a long haul network, so this may not be possible. In such cases, the OCS may face certain difficulties. That is flexibility concept, it is not going to provide. That can be solved, anyhow that can be solved by making use of the wavelength conversion function. So lambda 1, using the wavelength conversion function based on the availability, it can be converted to lambda 2 for the further transmission. So by making use of this wavelength conversion function, we can solve the concept or the problem of wavelength continuity constant. So it is going to the OCS is also going to have a disadvantage. The disadvantage of OCS is that it cannot handle bursty traffic. This is due to the fact that the necessary resources cannot be allocated readily. It's a known concept in OCS that once a dedicated path is established, so that will be fixed till the end of the transmission. In case of the requirement of sudden requirement of the bandwidth, so that may not happen instantaneously. For example, text is being transmitted, that much of resource is being allocated, and all at a sudden an image or a video is being transmitted over the same continued network. So in such a cases, resource allocation cannot be allocated rapidly. Resource allocation will become a problem. So this is what the main disadvantage in case of the OCS. The second one, packet switched networks, also known as OPS. In case of OPS, there will be no dedicated connection from source to the destination. So it is considered that the data will be transmitted in the form of the packets, and each packet will have a sequence number, and those packets can take different paths to reach to the destination. When it reaches to the destination, there, based on the sequence number, it is going to arrange them and decode them to get the necessary information. In this optical packet switching, it is going to perform 4 basic functionalities. They are routing, forwarding, switching, and buffering. Let us go through each of them, the meaning for each of them. The routing function provides network connectivity information, often through pre-allocated routing tables. Forwarding. The forwarding defines the output for each incoming packet, that is based on the routing table. Switch. The switch directs each packet to the correct output, that is defined by the forwarding process. Last one, buffering. The buffering provides data storage for packets to resolve any connection problems which may occur during the packet transmission. So this diagram is going to indicate an optical packet switched network packet format. Here we can observe, so this is the payload, that is the actual information, and the another part is the header or the label, and both of these two are separated by a guard band, and a combination of this header and the payload is what one packet duration we are going to have. This guard band is used to avoid the overlapping of the data. So more details about this label and the header we are going to study next. Anyhow, for the sake of reference, we can say that this label holds the information related to the routing. Let us consider this complete network in order to explain how this packet switching is going to work. So there are various networks like SONET is there, IP is there, and then this is considered as the long haul network or the core, and then via this there are other connections out of it, and we must also observe that there is a edge router. Now let us consider some transmission is happening from this point towards this point. In such a case, the packets, what we call it as the payloads from the network, will reach to the edge router. This edge router is going to identify what must be the immediate next destination through which that packet can be forwarded. Based on that, this edge router is going to put a label. This is going to put a label. That label holds the address of the next destination, next immediate destination. Therefore, now this is a optical packet. This incomplete, we call it as a optical packet. Now this optical packet will take a move to the another router, and then gradually, similarly, it will take towards the destination. And it must be taken care that at each router this label part is going to be read. The packet, this packet particular payload part, that will be kept unaltered. Only the label will be decoded at each router, and then the router may update the label so that it can traverse through the immediate next node towards the destination. Right? So here we can observe that. So this is what one we are going to have, and this is what another. So we can make an assumption that if there are some two packets has been transmitted over here, then one may take the path something like from edge router to this one, from here and then to this point, and then towards the destination. The another packet may traverse through this edge router, then to this router, and to this router, and finally to this edge router, then to the IP client. So that means based on the current traffic or instantaneous traffic, by studying that, each router may assign a separate path to each packet that will be embedded within that label. Based on that, that will be traversed through the various routers before it reaches to the destination. Therefore, at the destination it is compulsory to have sufficient buffer to hold all those optical packets and then assemble them in a sequential manner, then decode the information. Now the routing function typically involves 4 steps. What all I explained previously, that is what is being kept over here. First one, extraction of label from the packet, processing of the label to obtain routing information, so that will be done by each of the routers, routing the payload and contention resolution if necessary, rewriting of the label and recombining it with the payload. So this last point will be performed at each and every node. So when the particular router is routing the packet, then it will continue, it will provide a continuation to the immediate next router. There it will be the label will be rewritten. The label will be rewritten so that it can move towards the destination. So once it is rewritten, it will be combined with the payload to form a optical packet. And remember again, payload is the unaltered part. Whatever it has formed at the initial stage, the same payload will be delivered as it is. Only the labeling will be keep rewriting at each router part. Let us take the third one, multi-protocol label switching, also known as MPLS. Let us go through these words. MPLS provides an efficient designation, routing, forwarding and switching of traffic flows through an optical packet switched network. It uses labels to forward traffic across various MLPS domains. When a label packet arrives at a label switched router, the incoming label will be determined the path of the packet in the MLPS network. Then MLPS swaps the label with appropriate outgoing label and sends the packet to the next hop. So this works almost similar to that of the optical packet switching. Here also we are going to have the packets, and here we call it as the MLPS, and the switching part is consisting of label switched router, which is going to read the address present in the label, and it is going to update it for the next particular hop. Now this table is going to provide the summary of MLPS functions and the implementations. So here we can just take an example. So first let us go through this wording. So switching domain, then we are going to have the traffic type, and then forwarding or implementation scheme we are going to have. Now what all it can handle, that is what is being listed over here. So let us take packet or a cell. So traffic type is going to be internet protocol. It can be forwarded, or implementation scheme is going to be with the help of the IP router, ATM switches. Implementation of label as header we are going to have. And if you go to the wavelength, in such a case, implementation using wavelength we are going to have. So these various types of traffic, these are the various kinds of traffic that this MLPS can capable of handling. Coming to the fourth one, optical burst switching networks. So this is a hybrid switching system. It is going to combine both optical circuit switching as well as optical packet switching to form the optical burst switching. This hybrid switching and the routing technology makes use of the electronics to control the routing decision through the optical domain. Now the overall concept works something like this. Now each of the user can transmit his own data in the form of the packets. At the edge node, so all these packets which belongs to same destination, they are all combined together to form a data burst. For that, a label will be put indicating the destination, and they will be transmitted as a single data burst towards the destination. So that is what the concept of the burst switching is going to work like. So this diagram is going to indicate the concept of the optical burst switching. So here we can observe a transmitter, a receiver. This is one edge node, this is another edge node. Like that we are going to have one more edge router, and then so there are several lines we can observe over here. So just go through that. So data bus, so that is somewhere here, the long one what we can observe, that is the data bus, and then the smaller one what we can observe, that is the burst header cell. So what I told as label in the previous slide, so that is what the burst header cell we are going to have. Now coming to the procedure of working. So let us consider this is going to be the transmitter, the source, and this is going to be the destination, that's the receiver. Now the transmitter is going to send a set of packets to this nearest edge router, to the nearest edge router. So like this transmitter, there may be several other transmitters connected to the same edge router, and they will also be doing the transmission. Now if all of those data almost directs to the same destination edge router, then in such a case all those data packets will be clubbed together to form a single data burst, which will be of the bigger length than individually transmitted packets. Then it must be labeled with the destination address, and that job will be done by this burst header cell. This edge router is going to make this burst header cell where the destination of this data burst will be specified, and then both of them will be routed towards the destination. Now here we can observe that the data burst is being transmitted over a separate channel, whereas the burst header cell is transmitted over a separate channel. So where the burst header cell is being transmitted, that line we call it as the control line or the control path, and this is what the data burst, that is the regular optical connection that we are going to have through that idle channel. Any of the available idle channel, the data burst will be transmitted. At the destination, both of them will be received, this the BHC through the control path, and from the optical path data burst, both of them will be identified. If it is required to be routed to some other node, it will be rerouted by changing this BHC, otherwise it will be passed towards the destination. So at the destination side also, if there are several destinations coming out of this particular edge router, so based on that, and once again this data burst will be decoded and each packet will be rerouted towards the respective receivers. So this can be better understood in the next diagram what we are going to have. What all I explained with respect to the diagram in the previous slide, the same is being represented in terms of wordings over here. So let us go through this particular point where we can understand few of the concept what I explained. Once again, a repetition. An idle channel on the access link is selected when a data burst is required to be sent, whereas the BHC travels on the control channel ahead of its associated data burst in time and is processed electronically at every node along the path. So this is what the main information we are going to have regarding the transmission of this optical burst switching system. So this diagram is going to show the optical burst switching in a very discrete manner. We are going to have two diagrams over here, figure A, and this part is the figure B we are going to have. So first let us start with the figure A. So in the figure A, make an observation. This is the transmitter side we are going to have overall. Figure A is the transmitter side. Here we are going to have the IP, SDH or SONET and any other format. So three different types of representations from the user we are going to have, and all of these are connected to the same edge router. And here we can observe P1, P2, various packets like that are being reached to the edge router. Now at the edge router, it is going to identify the destination of these packets. If the destination of these packets belongs to almost the same end edge router, then it is going to combine such packets together to form a burst. So that is what we can observe over here. So PA1, PS1, PA2 are clubbed together to form burst 1. P1, P2, PS2 are clubbed together to form the burst 2. And to each of them we must have a destination point that will be indicated by these two burst header cells, C1 for the burst 1, C2 for the burst 2, and this is for the control channel we are going to have. So take care the names. P1, P2 belongs to IP, PS1, PS2 belongs to SDH or SONET, PA1, PA2 belongs to any other format. That will be, and now after formatting this will be forwarded towards the destination. Now let us take a figure B over here. Now at the figure B we are going to have some sort of the packets in a burst format received by the edge router. We are not just making exact replica of the packets over here. So now we are going to have burst 3 and the burst 4. So burst 3 with respect to this control C3 we are going to have, burst 4 with respect to C4 we are going to have. This is the control channel we are going to have. So the burst 3 consists of these various packets. All of these together reaches to this edge router. This edge router is going to remove these bursts, separate the packets as per their intended destination. Then they are going to be placed as individual packets in a sequence at the destination line. Here we can observe that it is going to have PA3, PS3 and PA4. After decoding, PA3 and PA4 are kept over here and PS3 is being placed on this network. So separation is going to happen at the edge router. So overall we have to just take care of two things over here. So one is, it has been clearly said as it's a hybrid combination of circuit switching as well as the packet switching. So it is going to make use of both. First, packet in a discrete manner, a burst is formed. At the receiver, the burst is separated and individual packets are being forwarded. Now in case of optical burst switching, the reservation and the scheduling of the resources plays a very important role. So the reservation of resources is concerned with the end-to-end burst transmission, whereas the scheduling of the resources is concerned with the assigning and managing of the resources for individual bursts within this OBS nodes. So we'll stop this discussion over here. Thanks for joining.